If you enjoy this podcast, then be sure to check out Farm Small, Farm Smart Daily, where you can get your daily dose of farm wisdom. Tune in every day to learn the latest tips, tricks, and stories from the world of farming. Whether you're a seasoned farmer or just getting started, our podcast has something for everyone. Join us as we explore topics like farm business, crop planning, soil management, and tools and technology. Start your day off right with Farm Small, Farm Smart Daily, available on all major podcast platforms. Don't miss out. Subscribe today.
Do you think it's a now competition, or do you think it's the biology has fixed the mineralogy and the weeds aren't trying to rectify a problem because the problem isn't there? If we believe this concept that weeds heal specific things in the soil?
Yeah, the answer is yes. There's both competition, but there's also evidence that in soils that become more and more healthy, remember, for the most part, weedy species, Elaine Ingham has talked about a much more helpful definition rather than a plant out of place. Weedy species are going to be typically small, early successional plants that grow very quickly, produce a lot of seeds, and then die. So their interest, if you would want to use that word, is not in generating these mycorrhizal relationships that are usually a characteristic of later successional plants and perennials. Their interest is in growing really, really, really quickly and then producing seed and getting out for the next cycle. And what happens is when you get more and more soil structure, more and more mycorrhizal, higher fungal to bacterial ratios, is that the seed no longer is stimulated to actually germinate. And so it will only germinate if the soil gets disturbed or compressed or compacted or waterlogged or something like that. So I think soil condition, not only in terms of your fungal to bacteria or your microbial relationships, but I think there's also evidence that, for instance, soil that have very, very high soluble calciums really disfavor the growth of weedy species.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
So pardon me?
I was just going to say, it's really interesting when you think about that whole succession and all the interconnected relationships between the mycorrhizal fungi. And I was talking to someone else and they were looking at weeds saying, well, they might not form those relationships with mycorrhizal fungi under the soil, but a lot of weed species might form fungal relationships on their leaves because they're early inhabitors, so they're more picking up those types of nutrients. So
that's interesting. Yeah. I've never heard of that. Yeah, I've got some pigweed in my strawberry patch, which is very fungal, but the pigweed is kind of really pathetic looking. I don't know if it's going to set seed or anything. So, yeah. But I think it's in terms of a helpful definition of saying weeds are early successional habitat plants, and my general experience is that if we create the soil conditions and then the above ground conditions as well, those seeds, if you have something covering the soil, if there's no sunlight getting to that seed and there's no heavy disturbance of that land, there's no stimulus for that seed to germinate.
Right.
Hello, growers. Looking to turn your homestead into a profitable business? Or are you a farmer looking to boost your sales? Check out my book, Sell Everything You Grow. This book is the ultimate guide to choosing the right farm business model that fits your farm, time, and location. Discover which model has the highest profit margins and why diversification is so important. Whether you're selling apples, vegetables, or microgreens, Sell Everything You Grow will help you find your first market or expand into new ones. Get Sell Everything You Grow on Amazon and start selling more today.